We are live and we are back a little earlier than I anticipated. But I have at least one member was a Zoom meeting, so I'm gonna try and get us moving along. Today we are looking at the Vermont Economic Growth Incentive Program. We have had our walkthrough on this one, and we have Frank Coffey here as a witness. And Frank, welcome.
Thank you, Senator.
So just introduce yourself to the record. And the floor is yours.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Is this
Fine.
good? Okay, all right, thanks so much. Thanks, Senator Cummings. Really appreciate it. Great to see you, and I apologize that I'm not there. I've got a 12-year-old who's autistic, so I have to pick him up at school, so I apologize. My name is Frank Coffey, and I work for GBIC, which is the Greater Burlington Industrial Corp. As you all probably know, Vermont has 14 counties, but we have 12 regions for economic development and then for land use planning and transportation planning. So we have 12 regional planning commissions, and we have 12 regional development corporations. GBIC is one of the regional development corporations, and we are I think we're tied with Brattleboro Development Credit. The oldest one in the state is Rutland, and Rutland was formed in 1948, and GBIC and Brattleboro Development Credit were formed in 1954. So we've been around. We were the first three before Governor Salmon and Governor Snelling rounded them out to being 14. So we do the economic development programs and services for the state of Vermont. We work with the Agency of Commerce and the Department of Economic Development. So we're kind of the state's eyes and ears on the ground, and the ones that are out there working with key employers. We primarily work with employers that have the profile of being dollar importing, goods and services exporting. So if you make a product or you add value to a product, or if you perform a service or add value to a service, then take that product or service and export that or deal with people outside of Vermont as customers and bring the first dollar into the Vermont economy, then you're an employer that forms the economic base. So you bring $1 into the state of Vermont before it starts to multiply. So to give you an idea, Chittenden County probably has 111,000 people in our market area, labor market area. And we immigrate about 26,000 people a day from other counties, and we outmigrate around 9,900 to Washington County and to Franklin County, Lamoille County, Addison County. So we do immigrate and outmigrate as well. So it's a pretty dynamic economy. With the 111 employees, there's about 8,800 businesses or employers in Chittenden County, and they employ the 111,000. We are micro-focused on about 300 employers who employ 40,000 Vermonters, and they are the dollar importing goods and services exporting employers. So they're the ones that form the economic base. And GBIC recruited IBM, brought IBM into Vermont, and we've led in the recruitment of a number of other companies. We helped grow Burton Snowboards. We brought Jake out of a garage in Manchester and helped him really start that industry right here in Vermont, and numerous others. We work in partnership with all the other regional development corporations, with the governor's administration. No matter who the governor is, we're apolitical. We do not make political contributions and really work with everyone. My background is I live in South Burlington now as my primary residence, so my little boy can uh, go to school in the South Burlington special education program for autism. But my home is St. Albans. I'm a native of St. Albans. I still have a home there. And I worked in the family's real estate business. And I did a couple of years. I ran Franklin County Industrial Development when I was in my early 20s and took it from being called Target Area Development to Franklin County Industrial Development Corp. Then I went from there to join my friend Howard Dean, who became governor, and I served Governor Dean for 3 years as one of his commissioners of economic development. So during that time, Senator Cummings will remember we brought forward the first tax increment financing concepts and also the first economic incentives uh, pretty much in modern times. So we brought the economic advancement tax credits. That was the initial program for economic incentives. And then over time, a lot of people didn't understand tax credits, and tax credits really weren't meaningful to companies in the 2000s because a lot of companies were not profitable, so that they weren't able to utilize the Vermont corporate income tax credits. So Senator Cummings, Senator Luzzi, and some other leaders in the Senate helped the governor at the time pull together Tom Cavett, Jeff Carr, and then a policy analyst in the administration named Michael Wasser. And those three gentlemen were the people that came up with the idea for VEGI, the Vermont Employment Growth Incentives. And myself and Dan Smith, who now heads the Vermont Community Foundation, and a few other folks worked with that team, led by Senator Cummings, Senator Luzzi, and others to write VEGI. And what we were trying to do was to have a cash incentive that grew employment in Vermont. The primary driver was to grow jobs, grow new jobs in significant industries that were going to employ people at higher wages, and that we're going to make investments in capital investments and in people. And the one thing that Jeff Carr and Tom Cavett and Mike Wasser did was they made sure that the state of Vermont makes money on the program immediately. And so if you're applying for a VEGI award, you have the but-for condition, which is a bit subjective, but it's been a real moneymaker for the state of Vermont, and it's grown huge amounts of capital investment around the state, and it's helped grow a lot of jobs in this state as well. Since the pandemic, the program has not been as active as we would have liked it to be because a lot of companies were in uncertain times during the pandemic. We're starting to come out now into an area where companies are once again looking at investments and capital investments. And I can tell you, we really need an economic incentive program because we do not compete well with other states. And we're almost, Senator Brock will probably understand this really well, as he's been a student of economics forever. And but we're almost in a period like the 90s where multinational corporations are looking at where they are located, and they're taking another look at where it is best to make investments. So we recently in Chittenden County lost an expansion to Michigan because the the prices of real estate were about a third of what the prices are here. So the price per square foot that a company could lease or occupy or buy a place, because they have so much inventory in the Midwest and the industrial states. I will say that the companies are looking at the U.S. again in making investments. There's incredible automation going in. So when you're looking at the manufacturing sector or technology sectors in the state of Vermont, the companies here are the best of the best. So you're not going to be in manufacturing and technology and have a really low price product. You're going to be at the higher end of the value chain if you're producing from Vermont or anywhere in the Northeast. It's more expensive to operate here. It's winter 5 months a year, and so we have higher overhead costs here, and we're a little bit further from global markets, but we have an incredible workforce in the state of Vermont, and that's always been an advantage. So I would just like to thank you for this opportunity and tell you that we are very supportive of S225 that would remove the sunset on the veggie incentive. This I can tell you from the front lines of economic development. We very much need economic incentives, and having this sunset come up every 2 years really adds a level of uncertainty and unpredictability to any employers that are here. And it kind of sends a message that Vermont is tentative about employers making investments here in the state of Vermont, investments in people and capital, and we're in a really competitive environment. So this would really, really help. And I think I've said enough. I'm happy to take any questions. And the last thing I want to say is, and I should have led with this, thank each one of you for your service to the state of Vermont. I know from my 3 years serving as Economic Development Commissioner, how much time you spend away from your families and in your communities, and having a citizen legislature and doing what each one of you do is greatly appreciated by all of us Vermonters. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Well,
No,
I certainly know how hard Frank has worked in the economic development area over many, many, many years. I've been around this particular program, as you know, for many years. It's done some wonders, in particular what it's done for St. Albans in particular is very, very obvious to anybody who's been there 15 years ago compared to now. And the work that we've done in this area and the veggie program. But beyond that, beyond the amount of time that we spend every 2 or 3 years, depending upon what it is, we waste such a horrendous amount of legislative time doing the same thing over and over again. And we've done this enough. I think that we've proven that this is something that works. And if we don't like it, we can always repeal it. But the notion of reviewing it constantly makes no sense.
okay. I'm not seeing any questions, Frank. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Have a great day. I really appreciate your time.
See you
Have
next
a great
weekend.
day. Thank you.
Okay. My agenda again. Senator Beck,
Yes,
next.
all right. I'll be brief. I think, believe Kirby's scheduled to walk you through the language
Yeah,
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay, so, what I've got here is, Weidman, which is a major manufacturer in St. Johnsbury, Northeast Kingdom. What do? They make, the cellulose, the board that goes inside of transformers, and really big ones. they're part of the electrical revolution that's going on. They're an international company. Anyhow, they've been at St. Johnsbury since 1970. In 2012, they did they basically brought in a whole new press and part of their factory, which basically solidified their presence for the next 40 years. Their technology was going away and they had to do this.
Committee did some work.
Yeah, they had to do a new press, a new fabrication, new building, everything to solidify their presence in Vermont for the next 30, 40 years. And this is before my time in the legislature. I know Senator Kitchell was very involved in it and came through.
I think
They put
eventually
together-
went through in the appropriations bill.
Right, they put together a manufacturing tax credit that Wyman became a part of. I don't know if anybody else became a part of it, but I think they're the last people that were a part of it. And what they have is they have as part of that deal, they have a tax credit. But the tax credit was set against the Vermont state income tax liability. And they don't have any way to use it. And they still have a chunk of about $3.5 million that they have not been able to use. It expires in 2026, so time is running out. It was 2024, but it was extended
So
2
when
years.
we
or 20
helped
years.
Vermont, we altered the corporate tax
Yes,
to help businesses that are located in Vermont
That are selling.
inadvertently.
yeah, they don't have anything
This
so what I proposed here is to make that tax credit that they have, to make it refundable at no more than $500,000 a year, out till like 2034 is in the bill. And so that they can use that tax credit. It would not be, I put the effective date of July 1 of 2027. Because I did not want it to affect the corporate income tax revenue for this year, and the budget conversation is going on, so it would not begin until the next budget year. And that's effectively what the bill does. It just makes it refundable at no more than $500,000 a year until they can use the credit, and then it just all goes away.
And we will have.
Kirby will go through the language
Department
tomorrow.
Kirby.
Yeah.
Have during fiscal.
This is the only company that it's,
I believe so. It still is.
It was done
Yeah,
for this company
I think-
because they were trying
yeah,
it was an international competition, as
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember, for, they were gonna redo a factory somewhere in the world. And Vermont was one of them. If we didn't get a rehab, the chance that the company would
The
stay
technology
here
was-
was minimal, because whatever we were doing wasn't moving into the modern world.
yeah, they did the project, and part of the thing was they projected an employment increase of 75 people. They did that, they met that, they built the factory. In fact, there's nothing to do with this, but they're undergoing another expansion right now. They're actually gonna be the Center for Transformer Excellence for the entire, this company owns like 85% of the Ford manufacturing in the world. They're a Swiss corporation. Yeah, they're Swiss. So their employment's gonna go up to 375 for this next one. So they've done the projects and added the people that said they were gonna add. Yeah.
So we will see. Anybody we should hear from, talk to
Well, I can,
anybody in economic development or,
yeah, I could, the person that I worked on last year retired, Brett Long. I'll find out who it's replacing.
okay,
Tim Tierney might be able to come in and talk to us about
okay,
this.
see if you can find
Yeah,
out,
Tim might be able to come in.
and if the company wants to talk.
I could get their CFO,
Yeah.
Carol Martin, to
Come
come
to
to
us.
Zoom in or come over or something, but yeah.
This was similar to, we've done a few bills for an unnamed wood products company in the kingdom. We have a few companies that provide a lot of good paying jobs in sections of this state that don't have a lot of good paying jobs,
Yeah.
and we've
But they're
tried to,
350, 375, but that center for transformer excellence, like,
That's
those are gonna be some high paying jobs you're gonna come
Yeah.
into staff at.
yeah. St. Johnsbury is looking very up and coming these days
We have
down.
strong manufacturing.
Yeah, I would not like to change
We
this.
still have 1,500 manufacturing jobs in that area.
Okay, that's it. We'll get testimony on that one. And we can go offline.